Now, on 105.9 FM and streaming worldwide on the WMAL app, O'Connor and Company.
It's 8:07. It's O'Connor and Company. Thanks for tuning in on this very busy Monday morning. We got much to get to here in our final hour, including revisiting the revelations about President Biden's health and what the White House knew and when they knew it. Plus, Hillary Clinton is back. She's got something to say about women who vote for Republicans. So, Julie Gunlock, I'm sure you have an opinion or two about that.
Just a few.
That's Julie Gunlock. I am Larry O'Connor, and joining us right now is Congressman Andy Harris. Not only does he represent Maryland single-handedly in all of Washington, D.C., but he's also the chairman of the House Freedom Caucus. All eyes are on you and your caucus as we go through the reconciliation process right now. Chairman Harris, thanks for joining us.
Oh, it's good to be with you, Larry.
Listen, they're calling it the big, beautiful bill because I think that's Trump's language that he used to describe the idea of whether they get one big reconciliation package versus two separate, smaller reconciliation packages. Here's what's confusing to me. This is a tax cut. Why not call it what it is? You know, we're getting lost in the weeds with reconciliation and budget and spending and fraud and abuse and cuts, or are they cuts or are they not cuts? The bottom line is the bulk of this is a tax cut, and Republicans love tax cuts. So what's the beef with the tax cut?
Well, Larry, the problem is that after that Moody's debt downgrade last week, it becomes really important to make certain that if we keep taxes where they are, that is, we cut them from where they would be without this bill, we have to make certain that the deficit doesn't go up, because that debt spiral, if it's allowed to begin, it will not end well for this country. So this is our one chance, because we know that outside of a reconciliation bill, Democrats will never vote to cut spending. They love to spend. They've spent us into this disaster, and it's left up to us to get us out of it.
Yeah, I looked at the numbers the other day, Chairman Harris, and it looked to me like, we're still under continuing resolutions for, multiple years now, right? So all of that influx of spending that was under the guise of emergency money needed because of the lockdown and the pandemic, we're still under those numbers, right? I mean, pre-pandemic, we're something like 50% or 60% of the spending we're under right now. So why are we still operating with these numbers that were based specifically on helping out Americans and helping out various institutions that needed emergency relief during the pandemic? The pandemic's been over for years.
Well, that's right. We had about a 40% increase in spending, but once you factor out the increase because of Medicare and Social Security due to the aging population, it's probably about a 20% increase from pre-pandemic, which means that's the amount we should be cutting. And programs like the so-called Inflation Reduction Act, which is really the Green New Scam, I mean, that has to be eliminated. That's like $1 trillion. The bump ups in for instance, the food stamp program got bumped up during COVID. Well, yes. COVID is over. Let's restore it to pre-COVID levels. Medicaid, 40 to 50% increase in spending over the past 5 years. Let's restore that to pre-pandemic levels. Because without it, Larry, this will not end well. The Moody's downgrade is incredibly important. And Washington, the leadership, is whistling past the graveyard on this.
Yeah, I agree. There's some concerns also about the Green New Deal and that scam being continued. Why the delay? Why not end some of these things? I mean, you mentioned Medicaid. There's a delay. That's sort of the word, very popular in Washington, phased out. Why not just cut it? Is it a fear of not having the votes, of reelection? What's the holdup here, especially with things like Green New Deal? Why in the world would there be a delay in killing those programs?
Well, look, when you talk about $1 trillion in subsidies, you have very powerful advocates in Washington. And with regards to Medicaid, it's a political fear. But look, we came to Washington, at least the conservatives, the House Freedom Caucus, our members came to Washington to make certain that we save the country. And the bottom line is that if we have this fiscal disaster that is upcoming, it's coming. There's no question about it. Moody's called this exactly right, because there is no fiscal restraint being shown in for instance, the bill that's in front of us. We are going that bill, by the way, increases deficits in the first 5 years, and then lowers them in the last 5 years. Well, I've been around Washington long enough to know you never get to those last 5 years. All you're going to see are the increased deficits of the first 5 years.
Yeah. We're speaking with Congressman Andy Harris of Maryland, and your role as a congressman from Maryland factors into one of the biggest contentious points of this reconciliation bill, and that's the SALT package. That has to do with the deductibility of state income tax, which was eliminated in the 2017 package. States that have high state income taxes like California, Illinois, New York, and Maryland are all trying to push to return some of that deductibility back. But speaking from the perspective of someone in a state that doesn't have high income taxes, why should a state like Maryland, that has Democrat dominance in its government and continues to raise state taxes, why should they get a federal break, basically a subsidy from the federal government, just because they have an irresponsible state government?
Look, I agree, and that's why I think you ought to limit the SALT deduction cap to middle-income homeowners. Basically, it's homeowners that bear the real brunt of it because, for obvious reasons, they won't be able to deduct their state and local tax and their mortgage. So what you have to do, I think, is just limit it to the middle class, and I think that would be all right. That's one of the things on the table. But I can also see your argument where we just shouldn't do it at all.
What is that number in your mind? Because middle class is reinterpreted everywhere. What to you? What's that upper limit?
So I would use President Biden's tax limit, $400,000 on a joint return, and we would save a lot of money if we limited it, to that bracket.
Mm. And but the other option then is to let those middle income people in those high tax states run by Democrats get angry at the not at the federal government for not giving them a deduction, but get angry at their own government in their state, and maybe they might vote them out. That could be a good thing.
I agree, and that's the messaging that I haven't really heard very strongly. Is that the whole reason that the SALT deduction cap exists is because of local overspending.
What's the mood of the Freedom Caucus right now, and what are your rules of engagement on this, Chairman Harris? Does everyone, obviously, ultimately, everybody has the right to vote their own conscience, but are you trying to vote as a block on this, and are you dealing directly with the Speaker's office?
I don't think we're going to be able to vote as a block because we definitely have members who at this point say there's no way they're going to support this. We have to show more fiscal restraint. But I don't think we need to vote as a block. I think that on this one, you're right. Everyone gets to vote the way they think it's best for them and for their constituents. But I will tell you, there is no way that we are close to having the votes to pass this without further fiscal restraint in it.
No way that you're close without more spending cuts. And let me ask you one last question. It's a very much a Beltway question, but we're in the Beltway, so what the heck? There seems to be two schools of thought here, that the bigger concern of your colleagues is that some of these moderate or blue district Republicans could lose in the midterms if they go ahead and vote with the president. But there's also concern that some of your colleagues in the Freedom Caucus will be primaried by another Republican and lose their seat if they don't vote with the president. What do you think? Where is this going to fall? Are they going to accommodate the moderates in the blue districts for the concern that they may lose their seats to the Democrats? Or are they going to fault to the Republicans, the conservatives, because they don't want to be primaried by President Trump?
Well, I was elected during the Tea Party election, and no Republican's going to lose who stands for fiscal restraint. I think the president will come around to the opinion that we do have to show fiscal restraint, and I think that we will win on that messaging, even if the president takes actions, against us. The bottom line is Republicans believe that we have to eventually balance our budget, and we have to work toward that.
All right, Congressman Harris, we appreciate you coming on. And as things heat up over the next several days or maybe weeks, we'd love to have you back as you hear. If you hear anything, if anything's changing, let us know. We'll have you on.
Absolutely. Thanks.
Thanks. That's the chairman of the Freedom Caucus and our own local guy here, Congressman Andy Harris.
Right.
It's 8:15.
WMAL, making sense of the news. Live from the Home Paramount Pest Control Studios. Home Paramount, the leader in pest control since 1939.
Hillary Clinton's back. I do love it when she reminds everybody how odious she is. This is for one of those events where they get paid a lot of money to sit there and get interviewed with softballs.
Yes,
it's a thing
yes.
called the Newmark Civic Life Series. And here's a little bit of what she had to say.
Well,
Specifically, by the way, asked about Republican women who voted for Trump.
first of all, don't be a handmaiden to the patriarchy.
Okay, Julie, you're a
Okay.
handmaiden to the patriarchy.
Yeah, first of all, this is my first thought is she's so tiresome. She's so boring. Come up with something new. This has been used, I mean, since the 90s. People forget, like, Atwood wrote that book, I believe in the 70s or 80s, but then there was a major Hollywood movie with, I can't remember her name. You said it earlier. Anyway, there was a major Hollywood movie made. So this Handmaid, and then there was the miniseries on Showtime. So this Handmaid's Tale has been used against Republicans. Let's just remind Hillary Clinton, she's married to a sexual harasser and philanderer, and Hillary herself worked to destroy his victims. Okay, let's not forget she's part of the party that doesn't know what a woman is. She's part of the party that defends cheating men, taking women's medals and awards and going into their locker rooms and taking off their clothes and swinging their body parts all around. Okay,
Yeah,
she's
there's
part
nothing
of the
more
party.
patriarchal than that.
Yes, exactly. She's part of the party that defends illegal alien rapists and murderers of women and children.
Yeah.
Okay, the absolute audacity of this woman, and also Margaret Hoover. Can we just talk about Margaret Hoover, who's the host of this supposed Republican? She just sits back and chuckles, and I'm so tired of Margaret Hoover. Never challenging this kind of audacity coming from Hillary Clinton.
But you're right, it is tired. It is boring.
It's
It's
so
just
tiresome.
the same old thing, and it doesn't work. That's the other thing. It's like they've been saying the same thing for a decade, and it doesn't
Yes.
work. Natasha Richardson was the star of the
Thank
1990s
you.
version
Yes.
of Handmaid's Tale. It's there is her party actually is.
She is a
if
bitter-
if you believe in a patriarchy, it's her
Yes,
party.
she
that
is a
actually
bitter,
supports it.
nasty woman who tried to destroy women. It's just disgusting that she talks that way. Go on, sorry.
By the way, she also, as an example of the patriarchy, it's Elon Musk and J.D. Vance encouraging women to have babies. I kid you not. Cut 20, listen.
As I posted the other day, this very blatant effort to basically send a message, most exemplified by Vance and Musk and others, that, what we really need from you women are more children. And what that really means is you should go back to doing what you were born to do, which is to produce more children. And they are talking about, cash benefits for the more children you have. This has been tried, by the way, in other countries, and it has not worked. Or medals if you have 6 children, while they're contemplating cutting Medicaid, while they have no interest in paid family leave or funding quality child care. They're cutting Head Start. And you go down.
I know. It's just
But there
so
you go.
boring.
That's-
Yeah,
that's
but honestly,
how dare
the-
they want women to actually...
The 70s
have
called
babies.
and they want their women back. I mean, Hillary Clinton is why we have a major fertility problem in this country, why women often have to go to extreme measures to have children. She has encouraged women to, one, not have children, and secondly, to put it off, to work on their careers. And women overall are miserable.
That. Well,
Just like
there
her.
are some women who aren't having babies that are quite happy. They're the women
Yes,
with,
fine.
with boy parts. Those women. They're those women, the women who actually
I
don't
walked
have
right
ovaries or
into that. I walked
uteruses.
right into
Those
that.
are those are the happiest women that Hillary Clinton really does support. 822.
Making sense of your world.
I don't know where to begin.
News Talk 105.9 WMAL.
Thanks for taking my call.
Making sense of the news.
Coming up, we will cover the latest Biden news, those really cringe-inducing her tapes, Tapper's book, and also the latest he has a stutter excuse, his cancer diagnosis. We'll get to all of that. Keep it here. It's 8:30.
WMAL-FM Woodbridge, Washington, a Cumulus media station. Making sense of the news. News Talk 105.9. News now. Now on 105.9 FM and streaming worldwide on the WMAL app. O'Connor and Company.
Even MSNBC now is admitting that Joe Biden had cancer during his presidency, and most importantly, the White House surely knew about it. The revelation yesterday that Joe Biden has very advanced and serious prostate cancer, of course, makes your humanity want to pray for him and his health, and certainly the people around him, because losing someone you love is horrible. I know that. It happened to me this year. That said, he was the president of the United States, and this just add this to the list of lies and deceptions. And I say even MSNBC, moments ago, Joe Scarborough.
You're an oncologist, obviously incredibly respected. You believe that it is likely, just for those just tuning in, you believe it is likely if this prostate cancer has spread to the bone that he could have had it for up to a decade, but certainly it's likely. Would it be fair to say it's likely to have had this for at least several years?
Oh, more than several years. You don't get prostate cancer.
So again, I just want to
I love the way they cover the news
Joe.
compared to how we cover the news here.
Let's just be clear. Yeah.
This, by the way, coupled with the release of the Robert Hur tapes showing us exactly how out of it he was behind closed doors in private, when people like Joe Scarborough and Nancy Pelosi and Chuck Schumer and Kamala Harris also, behind closed doors, he's on top of everything. He's sharp as a tack. Of course, it's quite the opposite. We were lied to as a nation daily, and you and I and people like us in right-of-center new media, we were maligned and lied about during this entire thing.
I mean, but I can't. Larry, when are the Democrats going to start getting angry about this again? Even Joe Scarborough's like, Joe's very calm, right? In that, he was like, you're an oncologist. Let's talk about this, right? He should be outraged. It's the biggest political scandal in our lifetimes, probably in the history of the country. And this is on top of COVID and Hunter's laptop and the election and the mushy brain, the mashed potato brains. I mean, like, it's such, and those are not minor things.
Right. Mail-in ballots.
Mail-in ballots.
Well, they all have one thing in common. If you go back, the list of lies you just laid out there, plus the lies about the president's abilities, plus
what they did to Trump. Yeah.
Well, that's what they all have in common. So the Democrat Party, the leadership, the elected officials who, I'm not talking about your aunt who loves voting Democrat because she thought JFK was dreamy. I'm not talking about her. I'm talking about the leadership of the party, the people who win elections, the people who have power, the Obama people, the Clinton people, all of them, and their handmaidens in the media, if you want to talk handmaidens. They have been defined by one thing and one thing only for a decade now, and that is stopping Donald Trump at all costs. They must do or say anything. They must perpetuate any lie necessary to retain power and, more importantly, keeping Donald Trump out of power. And that overrode all of it. When will Democrats be angry? They're going to weigh this. They're going to say, okay, what makes me angrier? The fact that the president was lied about to me on a daily basis, all of these lies, Hunter Biden laptop, Biden's health, Biden's mental capacity, the mail-in ballots, the COVID-19 pandemic, the lockdowns, ruining the business, ruining our kids' school life, all to make a panic in this country to help Biden win the election. Will all of that anger me more than I hate Donald Trump? And when they reach that point, the delta, people call it in accounting parlance, as soon as that delta is reached, as soon as they realize, you know what, I hate Donald Trump, but I don't hate him nearly enough as I hate being lied to by my own people, my own government, my own party. At that point, that's when they'll get angry, Julie. But I think the way they drum up hatred against Donald Trump on a daily basis in this country, I think we're still far away from that.
I mean, and we have a Democrat Party that was actually angry when Moody's and other financial institutions downgraded this like so-called crisis, saying that there isn't going to be a recession. There was actually anger right on the left about this, saying no, we have to. They were rooting for bad news. That's where the Democrat Party is. I mean, it has become so legitimately un-American. Their hatred for Trump has made them nuts and un-American.
It defines everything that they are. You just heard that doctor on MSNBC is just the tip of the iceberg. There are plenty of doctors who are all saying the same thing. This requires a full investigation, because this isn't about politics. This is about our Constitution. It's about the office of the presidency, and it's about the men and women who wear the uniform, many who died while serving under this incapacitated, incapable commander-in-chief, and they must be held accountable for those lies. It's 8:42.
Making sense of your world.
There are a lot of things that really tick me off.
News Talk 105.9 WMAL. Making sense of the news. WMAL. Making sense of the border. Because laws either matter or they don't. Download the WMAL app to stream us for free.
There's so much more to get to. Listen, we've been talking about this Biden thing all morning long. The call for people, now that he's been diagnosed with this very serious cancer, we should probably just let him recover in peace and deal with this, not talk about his memory loss. Oh, hell no.
You know what that is, Larry? That's the new, he has a stutter. Leave him alone.
That's right. He has a stutter. And this is really just about the love of a father and his son.
That's right. That's right.
No, we're not done talking about it. It's still a major story. It will continue to be. The Her tapes released on Friday that shows just how incapacitated he was. The obvious announcement of his cancer that shines a light on the fact that not only did he know of his condition, but also people at the White House had to have known as well, and they owe the American people the full disclosure of these things. I do want to just and Lord knows Chris Plant is going to be addressing all of these things coming up in a moment. Yes, Chris is back, and we'll talk to him coming up in a sec. But I just want to take a moment just to set all of that aside, all the rancor, all the vitriol, all the anger, frankly. And I want to extend my own personal gratitude to someone. I give him a hard time here a lot, Jake Tapper. Jake Tapper of CNN, who, of course, has now gone on a book tour promoting his book called Original Sin, President Biden's Decline, Its Cover-Up, and His Disastrous Choice to Run Again. But, of course, he never addresses the disastrous fact that he was president. Not that he didn't run. The disaster is not that he ran again. The disaster is that he was president. And the cover-up...
Yeah. He also avoids taking any blame, but go on.
Yeah, he personally doesn't take any blame for it, although recently he said, with great humility. But here's the other thing. He talks about a cover-up, but he never names the names of the people who covered it up. But anyway, I want to set that aside because I want to thank him, because right now my book, Shameless Liars, How Trump Defeated the Legacy Media, Made Them Irrelevant, it's all about the same topics, but with a little different approach. It is number 2 right now at Amazon in media and internet and politics, and number 8 in campaigns and elections.
And honestly,
it continues to score. I sold a ton of books this weekend, and it's all thanks to Jake.
Well, I will tell you this, people. I keep this on my desk because it's like a reference book. As I'm writing things, I might want to go back and remember, who did this? What did this? When did he say this? Larry lays it all out.
Get your copy. It's available on Amazon now, 8:53. All right, thank you, Julie. Buckle up. We're going to have a busy day tomorrow as well, as President Trump will be speaking with Vladimir Putin. The White House is going to give a presser in moments. And Chris Plant is here. Chris, welcome back.
I am here. Why, thank you very much. That's right. I had a couple of days off.